Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump's new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, just completely exposed the Democrats' corruption and fraud. Now, as you might have heard, the Democrats have been completely melting down as a consequence of Elon Musk's work with the Department of Government Efficiency. And as he continues to expose more fraud and more corruption, guess what? The Democrats are becoming increasingly unhinged. In fact, if you don't believe me, take a look at this footage from their recent anti-Elon Musk rally.
We will not take this. We will fight back.
Fight back. Fight back.
And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and goddamn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war. Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and they be given full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States of America, we are at war.
You hear that? So as far as they're concerned, they are at war with the Trump administration. Sounds a little insurrection-y, don't you think? But now this is where we get to Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. You see, earlier today, she took the stage and absolutely destroyed all of these unhinged progressives. Take a look.
Elected Democrats are so steamed about Doge. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver says we are at war. Ilhan Omar says we might actually see somebody get killed. And Chris Van Hollen says we have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets. So what now?
And may I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here. And for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
And you know what? She's absolutely right. Can you imagine what the Democrats would be saying if there were massive crowds of Republicans gathering up and declaring war on the federal government? They'd be deploying the National Guard, rounding people up and throwing people in prison cells. But no, it's different when the Democrats do it, because as we all know, the first rule of progressivism is rules for thee, but not for me. And now I do want to say real quick, guys, if you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing because it really does help with my daily struggle against the dreaded YouTube algorithm. But okay, so why are the Democrats really so upset about all of this? Shouldn't they be happy about cleaning up the federal budget? Well, take a look at this.
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOGE team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
So in case you missed it, here's what she's talking about. As it has come out, USAID, which is pretty much in the process of getting gutted by Elon Musk right now, has been sending millions of federal dollars to various progressive news outlets and politicians. And now that the Department of Government Efficiency is putting our federal budget underneath a microscope, all of this fraud is coming to light. And so what we've discovered is that all of these very recognizable household progressive media outlets, like Politico, for instance, have pretty much never been profitable and have just been kept afloat by corrupt federal handouts. Which pretty much means that many progressive media outlets that you're all very familiar with are literally just paid propaganda networks for the Democrats. Go figure. But okay, now I want you guys to take a look at Karoline Leavitt's closing statement, her final message to the Democrats.
And I would just say a strong message to Democrats who are out there pretending to be outraged about the long list of crap that this administration is cutting federal waste and funding, like $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, $20 million on a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. I could go on, and I'm happy to provide this list to every single one of you. Democrats are outraged that the American people want to be, they want their taxpayers going to good uses, not stuff like this. But then they're very quiet about the fact that there are still North Carolinians and people in California who have lost everything. And in the last 4 years, this federal government did nothing to help them. This president will continue to put Americans first. And I think the successes of this week so far speak to that. And it's only Wednesday. So I'll see you guys later this week, and we'll see you this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what's her final message? Get over it. Because, hey, here's the reality. Americans elected Trump alongside the promise that Elon Musk was going to help clean up our federal budget, and that's exactly what he's doing. So all of these Democrats that are taking to the streets shrieking, "We didn't vote for Elon," well, maybe you didn't, but we did vote for him to cut all of this waste from the federal budget, and guess what? That's exactly what's currently happening. And now I have to say, have you guys ever seen the Democrats this upset about anything ever? Because I sure haven't. And so I think what's happening right now is that they realize their federal budget subsidized propaganda network is coming crashing down. And the reason why that's such a problem for them is because they realize their entire political presence is fake. It's all astroturfed. Without this media-driven illusion of popularity, progressivism gets exposed for what it really is, just a bunch of corrupt incompetence. In fact, if it were up to me, I think all of this taxpayer money that's been stolen needs to be repaid by someone, because guess what? It was actually stolen. Did we ever get to vote on whether or not we send $20 million to Zimbabwe so they can have LGBTQ group therapy classes or whatever the hell was going on? Because I don't remember voting for that. It really is amazing. It seems like a lot of this money just sort of disappeared and no one knows why, and no one's taking responsibility for any of it. It really makes you wonder just how long has our government been operating like this? Keep in mind, USAID has had a $50 billion yearly budget for years now, and that's all taxpayer money, by the way. That's our money. Imagine all the good that could have been done for Americans in America if that money hadn't been siphoned off to various progressive political action groups. To be conservative, we can estimate that hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars has been wasted on stuff like this, if not just outright stolen. And so, hey, here's what I have to say. Thank God all of this stuff is getting exposed and shut down. But you know what? I think that's all I've got for you guys today with this one. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Please like the video if you liked the video. Please consider subscribing. It really does help a ton, like I said earlier. Thank you all very much for tuning in. And of course, as always, stay safe.